Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we are on the website of Thomson Roddick Auctioneers based in the UK. This is a new auction house to me. I just spotted it with a few listings on the sale room, so decided to dig a little bit deeper. It seems that they have this collector's auction of music, vinyl records, kind of musical instruments, etc., and I've just pulled up the musical instrument part. It says there's 211 items, but some of them are things like records, so I think there's about 150 items. So we can have a look at this. So this is exciting. Looks like the fees, if you're in the room and absentee, it's 21.6% buyer's premium. Online and auto bids is 25.2%. So that's that, and obviously this is in the UK, so if you are outside of the UK, if you're in Europe or international, there may be fees, shipping, etc. I don't know much about this particular auction house because this is the first time I've been on it, but do have a look and kind of see. Looks like it's based in Scotland actually, so have a look at all the terms before you get too involved in it. I had a quick look over it before and it seemed that there was some quite interesting stuff, so let's dig in and see what the pictures are like. So we have a late 19th century English violin by maker John Seymour of Leamington Spa, 1890, in wooden coffin case with two bows, bearing paper label inside, missing end pin button. Okay, so we see a bit of a label, a bit of the back. Looks like an interesting state, but could be an interesting one for someone. And let's move on to the next lot. An early 20th century full-size violin. This looks pretty standard, really. 19th century violin. It's another thing, this standard kind of thing with that standard inlay, nothing too crazy there. An early 20th century 3/4 Maidstone. I don't think we need to go too much into this. It's a generic kind of Maidstone for the kids and stuff back in the day. Vintage Chinese lark violin, we definitely don't need to look at that. 19th century violin, likely of German origin. That's probably correct. Their pictures are not bad. They're doing okay, I think. Another late 19th century 3/4 violin, double purfling there. So the pictures are not too bad. It's got a Mahogany label. And a 19th century French violin by Violin, they're saying. It's got a bow as well. Violin label. Kind of French tradie instrument. Sounds like my computer is alive at the moment for some reason. It's making a weird buzzing noise. Antique 19th century full-size violin in quite a nice case. Once again, pretty standard fare there. Another 19th century violin, the same German origin again. Quite nice cases actually in this auction. Cases probably better than the violin so far, but I think there are some decent things here. Westbury violin, no pictures, probably for the best. Two old violins. I don't think that's potentially a bit more interesting than the other one. Good to see if there's a picture of that one at the back. Sometimes it can be hard to tell. Nope, doesn't look like it, but this one looks a bit more curious than the other one. Two Chinese violins there. I don't think we need to look at that too much. Another two Chinese violins there. I think that's fine. More Chinese violins. 1/16 size by Stentor. We don't need to look at that. A Victorian violin case. These are quite popular. These are nice quality. Needs a bit of TLC. Another Victorian case there, and another one. We're doing quite well on the cases. Nice double case actually. These are not as common. Needs a bit of restoration work there, but interesting enough. Half size violin here, double purfling there. It's got quite a nice back, definitely curious. And an antique full size violin, saying probably of German origin again. Once again, doesn't look too outrageous. The estimate's 40 to 60 is fairly reasonable. Now they're saying a 19th century Italian violin, bearing indistinct label for Andrea Cartagna. Interesting. Not quite sure about that, but let's look at the pictures. The back looks actually fairly interesting. I don't think the label is believable, to be quite honest. There's quite a few pictures. Nasty crack on the back, so that's killing the value already. Yeah, I'm not convinced that is anything particularly exciting. Looks better than it probably is. Another German violin. Another modern violin, 1991, German kind of thing. '19th century Mittenwald, they're saying, which is possible. Could be what that other Italian violin was, or something like that, just doctored a bit. Another Czech violin here. It's not the worst auction for an unknown one on our list. It's not too bad. A phono fiddle by Strohvals. An 18th century Italian violin, bearing a paper label Sebastianus Albanese, Cremona. So once again, I think this is another speculative kind of thing. I'm not quite sure about this. The label doesn't really look like anything in particular. Back does look halfway interesting, I'll be honest. There's a lot of pictures on this one, so it does at least have a neck graft, this one, so 18th century might be correct. The back is quite nice, but it's got a really terrible back crack and damage, so that so that's going to be a real problem. So it's definitely going to kill much of any value that it had. So very much kind of a repairer's thing. The estimate seems a bit high, really, given the damage, unfortunately. Unmarked violin with 2 bows. Apologies for my coughing or weird noises. I'm just struggling a bit. Winter time. 2 modern 3/4 violins. I don't think we need to go into that too much. Another full-size violin. It's got a lion head. Slightly more interesting line than normal, but I think this is It's got a fake kind of Steiner label, but it's not particularly old. It's probably 19th century. And another kind of modern violin here. Nothing too exciting. Whole load of random violins to restore. Interesting enough back there. Possibly some kind of English bits and bobs. Vintage bow case by Gorge. These cases are pretty good. Hard to see what any of these bows are, but I presume that it's more to entice people to bid rather than the bows being any good, from what I can see in any case, but I could be wrong. Same here, these bows don't look too good, but the case is interesting enough. Another case. Yeah, the bows look pretty junky, but an interesting case. Another bow case there, and a Chinese viola there. Another vintage kind of 60s-ish, 50s, 60s cello. Don't know what it says on the label. Yeah, I don't think that label is quite correct there. Boozy and Hawkes half-size cello. Excelsior. And a vintage 3/4 cello. Boozy and Hawkes Excelsior again. And a vintage full-size cello by Balliol. Looks fairly tradey again. Vintage 3/4 size Czechoslovakian cello. Pretty low quality. And full-size cello for a restoration project. Could be an interesting one for someone. Obviously, the varnish has been stripped. Vintage double bass on wooden stand. It's pretty curious. Nothing too crazy there. 20th century arts and crafts cello case. That's a pretty cool case actually. I like that. It's pretty nice. 40 to 60 the estimate. Charles Brugiere branded oak cello case. Green felt lining. That's quite cool. I like that. That's an interesting case. Vintage black kind of plasticky cello case. Cello bow there. Stamped Grant Fay. Looks potentially an okay bow. Another cello bow there. Stamped Butler. Another cello bow there. Stamped Knoll, possibly Alfred Knoll. Another cello bow there. Looks also fairly curious. Whole load of bows there. And a vintage church organ there by T. Wilson of Whitehaven. It's a good mixture of things here. 19th century wooden square piano by John Broadwood and Sons, so that's pretty good quality. Still amazed by how low the estimates are on these things, because these are nicely made instruments, the Broadwood stuff. And a 1960s spinet 5-octave harpsichord by Johannes Morley, or John Morley in fact. You can still buy those now. Interesting. And an antique Victorian pedal palace organ by Loring and Blake. It's pretty interesting. And an antique Victorian upright piano by Robert Perkins of Hackney Road, London. Interesting. Antique Victorian mahogany parlour piano by John Broadwood and Sons. Wow, £50 to £100. This really is quite criminal. That, you know, this is very fine. Well, I say very fine, but I mean this is very nice, kind of nicely made instruments, and estimate 50 to 100, and I bet it doesn't go for much either. 2 antique clarinets, Boozy and Hawks. So definitely good range of things. Ooh, just make sure that I haven't gone too far. Pre-1930 Boozy and Hawk clarinet there. Modern student clarinet by Buffet Crampon. Kuznoa and C Paris clarinet in leather hard case. See a lot of those in the French auctions. Brass student slide trombone, Gear for Music, so a modern thing. Vintage Majestic Aristocrat saxophone by F.A. Eugene Schuster. Ruddle Cart silver metal flute in case of same name. 3 case flutes to include a Clermont and a La Fleur Deluxe. Load of flutes there. Bundy saxophone by Selma in fitted case, and also a Fremont saxophone. Ooh, this is interesting. A replica medieval fiddle by Robert Longstaff of Abingdon. Something a bit different there. £60 to £100. 1982 there. Something a bit different. Umberto Ceccherini Bulbat mandolin there. Pretty standard, but looks in okay condition. 4-string banjo by Reliance, fitted case. Windsor popular model 5-string banjo, and another banjo there. Barnes and Mullins No. 1 perfect banjo, mother of pearl inlay. Antique George Formby banjolele in defective leather case. 5-string banjo with Remo drum skin head. Modern Deacon 4-string tenor banjo. Vintage Epiphone Chet Atkins electroacoustic classical guitar. Ibanez Sound Gear Geo left-handed bass guitar. Fender Telecaster left-handed electric guitar by Fender. Vintage Minoric Lotus left-handed electric guitar. And a Fender Squier Affinity Telecaster electric guitar. And a Fender Squier Affinity Stratocaster electric guitar. Tanglewood Sundance Premier electroacoustic guitar. Ooh, a Tortec carbon fiber guitar hard case with 2 keys. Looks pretty durable. A 1930s Cromwell Gibson archtop acoustic guitar. This is slightly more curious. Some good pictures there. Something a bit more interesting. And a 1997 Epiphone Riviera EB electric guitar. And a PV Raptor Plus EXP 3/4 size electric guitar. An Ibanez electric guitar in a soft case. Yamaha FG 160 acoustic guitar in brown leather case. And a Freshman 12-string electroacoustic guitar. And a vintage Hohner VM accordion in hard case. And a vintage Hohner key accordion, 41 key accordion in carry case. Another Hohner accordion there. A vintage Ranco Antonio and Fiel accordion. A bit fancier there. An antique button box Melodion by Stradella, Italy. Antique chromatic accordion by Scandali. and an antique Lacanol & Co. London hexagonal button box concertina, and we all know that these are usually make money. There's lots of people that are interested in these. Looks to be an interesting one. Another Delap of Stradella, special make Italian accordion, and another piano accordion there, and a Hohner Carmen 2 accordion, lots of accordions, and a Stag electric mandolin. And now I think we're on to the records and things like that, so I don't think that we need to go too much further. If we just quickly check, I think the only thing that I remember seeing was on page 2. There was in fact, right at the end, there's a few kind of amps and things like that, but nothing too crazy, and then a Marshall valve amp at the end. So yep, this has been the first kind of brief run through of a Thomson and Roddick auction. Interesting, quite fairly diverse, a few kind of interesting things here and there. We just kind of went through it quickly and not in too much detail because my my voice and my throat is failing me at the moment. But yeah, some pretty cool stuff, some diverse bits, some interesting bows. The Broadwood and Sons square piano is pretty cool, interesting cases, and a few curious violins, so definitely worth keeping an eye on this auction house. So if you're interested in anything here, I'll put the link in the description. Have a look and see what you think. So once again, thanks for watching, and ciao for now. Bye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you